Hey kids, we're a couple of annoyed grunt boys, and this is the 138th Simpsons podcast.
Bart stinks!
Yeah, Bart stinks!
Bart stinks! Yeah,
Bart stinks!
That's right, we're the podcast that explores the American animated sitcom The Simpsons from seasons 11 and beyond, and the new ones when they're available. Why do we do it like this? Well, an entity known as the Wheel of Random has trapped us and forced us to watch episodes in such a manner. Plus, we know that there are already a ton of podcasts that explores the golden age of The Simpsons, that being seasons 1 through 10. I say we, because I am one annoyed grunt boy named Steve, and with me, as always, is the other annoyed grunt boy,
Anthony.
Anthony.
Yeah, it's Steve. It's time I reveal my real identity. As you know, I was gone for a couple weeks.
Yeah?
You know, I am from France, and I'm an Olympian.
Oh, yes.
My real name is Anthony Amarati, and I failed my country of France as a pole vaulter.
I think you showed, though, that you've definitely got the pull to vault, so...
That's right. I am that guy that his dong hit the pole. I'm so embarrassed.
I'm sure you are. It's so embarrassing to, let the world know as they watch you that you have a huge hog.
No, my real name is Craig, but I was actually away. You know that, Steve, right?
Yes, I think, you took a little trip. Did anything, eventful happen? Probably not.
Yeah, well, okay. I took the trip down to California to see the grandparents, so the grandparents could see the child, Gorgu. That's the child's name, Steve. Gorgu.
Of course, yes.
Not Baby Yoda.
Nope.
So when I was down there, we were like, well, let's do something, because now we got grandma and grandpa that can watch the baby for a bit, so we can take a night out on the town. And, I went to that, it's oneiota.com where you can get free tickets to, there's talk shows, game shows, or TV shows like tapings, and it's free. And, you just sign up and hopefully you get a ticket. And we did. And I'm looking through, and at the time it was like Jimmy Kimmel Live. That was one we tried because in the summer, Kimmel takes the time off and has guest hosts, and that week Jeff Goldblum was the guest host. So of course we wanted to go see that. We could have, but Thursday we couldn't get a babysitter that day. And so the next one was the sitcoms, and they had I don't know. We don't really watch 80 multicam sitcoms with a live studio audience that much anymore, except for Night Court, Steve. And we reviewed the first episode of Night Court. So let's try to get tickets. And so we did.
Oh,
so we got, and I've always wanted to see a studio be part of a live studio audience. And boy, I think I worked harder as being a live studio audience than ever in my jobs, because you're there for 12 hours.
Wow. Yeah.
You have to get there at 2:30, and then you wait, and then they put you in another line, and you wait, and then you go into the studio by 4:30, and then they start taping, and then by the time it's 9:30, you're finally done. And you're just your hands hurt from clapping, and you have to scream, you have to go, woo, with, for the actors and the crew. And then you got to do fake laughing. And see, let me tell you, it's hard to fake laugh at Night Court. I'm not saying anything you get bad, but any sitcom, because you got to watch multiple takes, and you're
right.
Well, the first time I chuckled, but then I got to chuckle again, but I know the jokes.
That is tough. That is a challenge. And it is also just difficult to laugh on command, even if you're watching something funny. It's tough. So yeah, good on you.
But I will spoil it a little bit. Sorry, spoilers. I didn't have to sign an NDA, so hopefully I don't get sued by big court. But honestly, when I was watching it, it feels a lot more akin to the original series now that the cast is a lot tighter. There's only 5 regular cast members, and Wendy Malick is now there to work off of John Larroquette's Dan Fielding character, and I think they're both age appropriate, and she's kind of the horny older lady, and I think the dynamics there. It's still a goofy episode, and it was very goofy what the plot was there, and Betsy Sidaro, who's a great improver comic, she's a new character on the show, and she's the new custodian, that. What was Al was the original guy?
Mm-hmm.
Is that his name? No,
Art.
Was it Al? Art. Yeah, and her name is Bert, so there's similar syllable name. But it's I thought John Larroquette was great, because you got to see all these takes and certain the punchlines and how he delivers them. Each delivery was a lot different, and dude didn't miss anything, didn't screw up. Constant professional, and everyone was. So it was fun. But in the meantime, there's the hacky, comic that has to keep the crowd going,
Mm-hmm.
So like when they cut and they have to reset scenes, so you're not just sitting there watching the crew do their job, which is actually what I wanted to do because I want to see how the sausage is made.
Yeah.
Another reason to go is you want to get free stuff. And so they had like t-shirts and mugs and like script pages that were signed. And so I'm like, well, I want a t-shirt because I need a new shirt to wear around. I don't know, but do I need a nightwear shirt? No. So, he would call audience members to come up to participate to do something like who's got the best laugh or who's can dance, who can do an animal noise or whatever. So Heather goes up to do a laugh, but she doesn't win the laugh contest, so she gets nothing. I go up there to do like an animal voice. I didn't win, so I sat down. And so we're still, we got nothing. And so it's during like halftime. It feels like there's a halftime, There was a break where we got to eat pizza and the actors got a break. And, oh, by the way, when they sat us in too, they get everyone seating appropriately. We were like in the back of the line. So I'm like, yeah, we're going to be stuck in the back. But we ended up getting there. And the person from the One Iota is like, okay, you guys sit right there in the front. So we got front row seats.
Nice.
And it was cool. Like, you get to see in front was like, I got the court in front of me. And then to the left was the office. And then to the right was the cafeteria. So we were the fourth wall. It was fun. So during that break, as we're in the front, like as I was saying, I see Melissa Rouse, who's the lead actor of the show. She's the judge. I see her coming running up to the front of the stage, and I nudged to Heather because she's watching the comic. I'm like, hey, look, there's Melissa right in front of us. How fun is that? Let's start the show. And all of a sudden, she's like, grabs the mic. There's a mic there for her because then she does a thing at the halftime where she comes and like kind of talks to the crowd. And I know it's her show and she's the producer, but it's almost like, I want John Larroquette to talk to us. Or like Wendy Malk's over there. She's sitcom legend and is a fan of the comic podcast improv scene in California. There's Betsy Sidaro. I want to talk to her. And also improv Gary Anthony Williams is a recurring guest, actor on that show. He's funny too. Anyways, so she comes down and she says something like how when she got this job that and she was going to be the judge that she became power hungry and went and got ordained online. So her thing that she does is like, now I could be an actual judge. And do you have any cases for me to judge? Or do you want to renew your vows? Or do you want to get married? Now, I don't know if I ever said on the podcast, like I have a partner. We've been together for 10 years. We're not married. We have a child. So our child's a bastard, right?
Of course.
Is a bastard can also be a girl?
Yeah, I think in this modern age, bastard doesn't have a gender. It's like actor.
Okay. So, our child's a bastard. So Heather and I look at each other and Heather's like, should we just get married? I'm like, yeah, why not? And so right when Heather's about to like, we'll get married. Another person in the background goes, we'll get our vows renewed. And we're like, ah. And again, this is not because like, let's get married. It's because we want a t-shirt or a mug or a script page signed. Mm-hmm. We just want some sweet merch, right? So when Melissa Rush is saying to the crowd, like, oh, that's great. That's great. Let's do this. And then the guy who said that is like, oh, never mind. My wife says no. And the audience is like, ah. But then Heather just stands up like, we want to get married. So Melissa Roush is like, you guys do? Like, yeah, sure. Why not? So she hands Heather a bouquet of fake flowers wrapped in gaffer's tape. And then she just does a little quick ceremony. We had an audience. They cheered. So now we have the story of, Melissa Roush, the actress, married us. John Larroquette was there. Wendy Malk was there. My wedding, like 400 people. We served 2 slices of Domino's cheese pizza and 1 little bottle of Crystal Springs water to everybody.
Classy.
We had a hacky comic magician there, a DJ. It was a little cold, but, we were there from like 2:30 to 9:30. It was a fun time for all. No alcohol, yeah, sorry.
That's okay. I mean, that sounds like a good wedding. I mean, my wedding had like you and 24 other people, so...
Look, I had a well-known actress officiate my wedding. You had an annoyed grunt boy officiate yours.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's pretty equal.
I don't think it's actually legally binding because we didn't actually have a wedding certificate. Now, if we had brought one, I probably could have said, hey, sign it right here.
Yeah.
And then it would have been. But then Melissa Roush was like, we told her the story and she's like, oh, if this show gets picked up next year, you should come back, bring your kid, and then we'll renew your vows. And I'm like, sounds like a plan. Will this show, Night Court, last to season 4? We'll see, Steve.
I hope so. And either way, I just want to say congratulations to you and Heather. You guys are lovely, and yeah, that's great.
And we're still technically not married, but we like to say that we are.
Yes, you're married in the eyes of TV, and in the end, that's all that really matters.
That's exactly what I thought, too. I got to get married in a court at night.
Yeah, that's the dream.
We did have to pay a $50 fine, though.
But time is served. I'm super excited for y'all, and that sounds like a great time. Speaking of time, let's go back in time, all the way back to April 29th, 2007. Craig, what was the number one movie in the box office?
It is the Rihanna song, Disturbia. Does Rihanna have a song called Disturbia?
She does, yes.
Was that in the movie?
I don't know. I want to say it has to do with Shia LaBeouf, but I don't know why.
Everything has to do with Shia LaBeouf. Yeah, Disturbia by Rihanna. Oh, yeah, look, Carrie-Anne Moss. The Matrix herself is in this movie.
Yes, it is a kind of remake of Rear Window.
Viola Davis is in it. See the Rotten Tomatoes score. You guessed it. It's 70%.
Yeah, that's...
And it's a 7 audience. Okay, so...
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Must be a good movie. But it's got Shia LaBeouf in it.
Yeah, nearly ruined my favorite movie, Holes.
His character did make Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny a whole lot better.
That's true.
Because he's not in it, because his character died in Vietnam.
Exactly.
Like a good American boy.
Exactly, like we all should have.
I mean, it's better that he died in Vietnam, because if Shia LaBeouf's character came back from Vietnam, we would be spitting on him to call him a baby killer.
Exactly.
There was a cutscene, actually. I bought the DVD of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. There was an alternate where Mutt comes back from the dead, and he sees his dad, and he's like, "Dad, I'm alive," and he's like, "Oh, you baby killer." So that's my long joke that I just mentioned, but
Totally worth it.
okay. Steve, hey, I imagine if that was the number one movie, then the Rihanna song Disturbia should have been the number one song on the Billboard Hot 100 that week, right?
You would think so, but Craig, when it comes to the Hot 100 song on the Billboard Hot 100, give it to me.
All right. It's a song that's by Timbaland featuring Nelly Furtado and Justin Timberlake.
What's the title? Give it to me.
Yeah. I gave you the artist. Now you have to tell me the title.
No, give it to me.
Are we doing Who's on First Bit?
Sorry. It is, in fact, give it to me.
I mean, this is kind of a baseball episode we'll be reviewing, so it only makes sense to do a Who's on First Bit.
Yeah, that's true. So,
all right.
But, Craig, what was the number one rock and alternative Hot 100 song?
What have I done?
I mean, you just ruined my whole Abbott and Costello bit, so...
I should just take you to the park and link in. That doesn't make sense.
Yes.
Steve, it was Lincoln Park. What have I done?
That's great. And what about the country song?
Well, Steve, I've been drinking too much right now, so I'm a little wasted.
I guess I'll have to carry you under some wood, because that was by Carrie Underwood.
I feel like we've just been doing these song jokes on like automatic now, Steve. They're not that funny anymore.
I guess you're right. That's why the number one hot dance electric song was, in fact, Automatic by Ultra Nate. Ultra Natty?
That'll be Ultra Natty.
I like the idea of Ultra Nate. Just some like guy who put on like an aluminum foil outfit like Butters in South Park, and he's like, "I'm Ultra Nate."
Alternate.
Alternate, hey.
Hey, there you go.
I like it.
All right, that's fun.
Alrighty, this week we're talking about The Boys of Bummer. Bart is once again enemy number one in Springfield when he makes an error that costs the Isotope baseball team, really the Isotots Little League team, the Little League Championship.
That's right. We got the description last week, and it's like isotopes. No, it's isotots. Come on, Internet.
Be better, Internet.
This is your first mistake, Internet.
Yeah, we expect more from you.
Yeah. We're watching you.
And we're looking at your pornography. All right. Speaking of which, let's take a break, watch this episode of The Simpsons, and we'll be right back. And we're back. Today we're talking about The Boys of Bummer, the 18th episode of the 18th season. Originally aired on April 29th, 2007. It is episode 396 in the show's run. Your nerd code is JABF11. It was written by Michael Price, directed by Rob Oliver, and your showrunner is Al Jean.
All right, out of the 26 episodes that Mr. Price has written, this is the 7th we've reviewed.
Nice.
And Steve, we can review every single episode because he started in season 15, episode 2's My Mother, the Carjacker, which, we haven't reviewed yet.
Mm-hmm.
The earliest one we have reviewed is Mommy Beerist from season 16, episode 7. That was our 228th episode.
Wow.
We've also done Funeral for a Fiend, Mad About the Toy, Nita's Murder, and recently from season 34, Hostel Kirk Place, and I.E. Bonnie Romance from season 35.
Huh.
Now, if I kind of remember, this is no shade to Mr. Price here, but I remember Hostel Kirk Place and I.E. Bonnie Romance were kind of one of our least favorite episodes from those seasons.
We didn't hate them, I don't feel like, but yeah, they weren't the best.
I know that I.E. Bonnie Romance, I put too much hope in that episode because Karen Gillian and David Tennant were voice actors. And Willie is a lot of fun, Steve. I've always had fun with Willie. Have you had fun with Willie?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there were times in my teens when, I would just enjoy Willie multiple times a day.
I know there was a sign in our school that says, don't touch Willie, but I'm like, I gotta go home and touch Willie.
Yeah, of course.
How many episodes we have to go for Mr. Price? We have 'Tis the 15th season. Steve, what season do you think 'Tis the 15th season is in?
Well, I know what you expect me to say, so I'm going to say season 15.
Yes, it is, and that's what I expected you to say.
Oh, good.
We haven't done My Fair Laddie, or Yokel Chords, or E Pluribus Wigam, or How the Test Was Won, and so many more.
Got a long way to go. A lot of price to pay.
So I'm assuming that he's still currently a writer for the show, if we reviewed one from last season.
Yeah, I will say we'll probably see him again in season 36.
He is credited with the 500th episode of the show at Long Last Leave. And from season 23, Steve, I really don't remember that episode.
Me neither.
We'll save that 500th episode for our 500th episode. How about that, Steve?
Excellent. Yeah, I'm sure we'll probably will get there soon enough.
By that time, will we be doing the podcast? I don't know how it's going to be.
Yeah, maybe.
It's been faster. I don't know.
Maybe it'll be a pill that our listeners can eat, and then they just have the information of our dumb podcast instantly into their brain.
You're going to swallow that X pill, Steve?
Yeah. Get that all of X in me, because Elon Musk, he's great.
Yeah, just Elon Musk, just give us that Neuralink that we all want and control us.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong there. You're a great inventor, and nothing you make is crappy, so I'm sure it'll be great.
Not inventor, Steve, investor.
Oh, yes, that's right. I forgot. Investor.
But, hey, do we have anything else to say about Mr. Price except for get to work and start writing more episodes?
Yeah, and keep on working on your Lego Star Wars stuff, too.
I think there was a trailer for a new Lego-type Star Wars movie that's almost like a what if.
Ooh.
I saw a trailer. It looked kind of fun.
Yeah.
Bobby Moynihan plays a character named Jedi Bob.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's like an alternate universe where the whole universe gets screwed up. But it's like a Lego Star Wars thing, so it could be fun.
Yeah.
You can watch it on your Disney Plus, Steve.
All one company now.
Yeah, I didn't realize Hulu now you can get I knew Hulu, because Hulu's owned by Disney.
Mm-hmm.
You get a bundle with Max. That's not even owned by Disney.
We're about 6 months away from just having cable again.
That's all it is, yeah. But it's tempting because it's Hulu, Disney, and Max for $20.
Those are the Prime apps that I use most of all.
Right.
Aside from the Prime app.
Right, but that's just because you need the Amazon deliveries.
Right. It's incidental, and every now and then there's some movie or some show on MGM Plus that I want to watch that I can get through Prime. But yeah, for the most part, I'm a Hulu, Disney. Sometimes I like the Peacock, that is.
Hey, I know this might be dated, but the Olympics were just over, and I used the Peacock app for the Olympics, and it was actually really well done.
Really, I have to agree. The interface was great. The ability to watch clips and pieces. I could not ask for a better Olympics watching experience than what Peacock provided. Not a paid sponsorship.
I know, and thank you, Steve, for letting me use your Peacock app, and I've been using going on the Olympics, but it keeps saying, do you want to keep watching the Anthony Ammirati pole vault fail? And it says that you have watched it 40,000 times.
Some may call it a fail. I call it a success.
All right.
That guy's doing good. Craig, do we have a couch gag?
Yes, and that's all we have because there's no title gag or that other thing that they do. Chalkboard. Mm-hmm. Which is a shame. This is season 18, you know?
Yeah, you want it all.
All right. But we don't have it all, Steve. Instead, it's just Simpsons arriving in the living room where they find 4 chairs. Mm-hmm. So they play a game of musical chairs, and when the music stops, everyone sits down except for who?
Gil?
No, Homer.
Oh, yeah, that would make more sense.
Were you a fan of the game musical chairs?
I mean, I do like music, and I do enjoy sitting, but I don't like adding competition to either of those two activities, so no.
I remember when we were in elementary school, well, we didn't go together, but I'm sure your elementary school had like school fairs once a year. And I remember there was a cakewalk, which is essentially was just musical squares.
Yeah.
So you'd walk around and the music stops. So like whatever, it was a lot nicer musical chairs because you have to run to sit, and it would just land on like a prize you would get. And every time I would stop, I'd see someone like win like a cake or a cupcake. And I'm like, oh man, I'm definitely going to win a cake because everyone's winning one. And it was so disappointing. Like everyone won something. I landed on squares that had nothing on it. And like, it was like, you couldn't lose with this cakewalk, but I never got the cake. I never won a cake. And Steve, you're not allowed to give me a cake as the gift because that's not in this episode. There is a cake in this episode.
Well, I don't know yet because I haven't watched it.
Right. Anyways, let's be like Marie Antoinette, Steve, and get our heads chopped off.
Alrighty. Well, before we do that, our episode begins, as it always does, at the Springfield Little League Park, which offers the warning, your child is not as good as you think he is. The Springfield Isotots, that being a extension of the Isotopes, are up 5-3 against the visiting team. In the stands, Homer returns to a seat just as the game is ending. He was caught up in the concession stand watching those hot dogs rolling and turning without a care in the world. But it's no more lazy Saturdays for them, as Homer shoves a wiener in his mouth.
Well, the visitors are up to bat, and Nelson is pitching, and he's swinging his arm back and forth, and then he tosses the ball from his glove into the air, and he punches it across the plate. What do you think of this gag of punching the ball instead of throwing it?
I mean, I get it, but he's a bully. So yeah, it's kind of funny.
I feel like it would hurt your knuckles.
It would, but like, that's where a knuckleball comes from.
Oh, here you go. Also, Cobra Kai totally stole us from The Simpsons.
Of course.
There's Cobra Kai, like Johnny Lawrence uses a pitching machine and shoots it at the main character, Miguel, and he has to like block balls coming at him. And it was like a running gag. And this latest season, they're at a batting cage and a ball comes right at Miguel, and he actually punches the ball wins. Cobra Kai is the best show of all time, Steve. I've been rewatching it yet again for probably like the 14th time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why you haven't watched it, Steve. It's my best guilty pleasure. Don't worry. If we have a Patreon, Steve, we're definitely do a Karate Kid-verse segment on our Patreon.
I like it.
We're going to watch all 5 Karate Kid movies, including we're going to watch the animated Karate Kid series from the 80s. I think it only lasted for like 13 episodes, but we're still watching it.
I feel like I had an action figure.
Oh, I had
promotional pajamas from that series.
See, when I was a kid, I had the Miyagi-Do gi with the headband. I had a Daniel-san and a Mr. Miyagi toy where, they had the karate chop action.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have Johnny Lawrence. I just had Miyagi and Daniel-san because they're the good guys.
Yeah. I still want a pair of those tiger sneakers that I think Johnny wears in the second one.
First one, Steve. Technically he's in the first two, but...
Yeah.
Wait for the whole Karate Kid universe. I hope there's like extended comic books and novel series.
I'm sure there will be.
I don't know if there ever was there might be a comic book. It seems like something like the IDW publishing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to have to look into that. I know there's like some video game, but anyways. So yeah, The Simpsons, Steve. The batter swings and misses, causing the ump to call strike 2. And in the stands, Professor Frink does some calculations on a notepad to discover that 3 minus 2 equals 1. Meaning that the Isotots are just 1 strike from victory. And Frink is right, Steve. Numbers are fun.
It's really true. I can think of a couple of fun numbers. 69, 420, yeah, 11. It's because it's a fun number. It's 2 1s. 9. Anyway, So team manager Ned tells his team that they're 1 out away from going to the championship. He wants to win in honor of groundskeeper Willie, who made him a beautiful black bicep warmer. And Willie's in the stands sewing like crazy as it keeps those naughty hands busy. Speaking of touching Willie.
Right. Well, another punch pitch from Nelson, and the ball flies into the air, headed towards the outfield, and Milhouse reaches out to his glove, claiming the fly ball, saying, I got it. But Bart pushes him out of the way and catches the ball, chanting, I hogged it. So, as a sign is unfurled, announcing the Isotots have won, and trumpets blare, and the crowd goes wild. And Homer and Marge are proud of their son, and the people of Springfield are more happy to celebrate the success of humble Bart.
My son caught the ball! This makes up for everything that's gone wrong in my life, or ever will!
I'm also pleased.
After years of failure in everything we've attempted, we are one victory away from a championship, people, and our newfound glory is all due to these wonderful boys!
Behold my naked butt! Each cheek is a god to you!
Now, Bart, stay humble. Your baseball cap won't fit over a swelled head.
Flanders, these boys have earned the right to behave like arrogant oafs.
Can we egg the crowd?
In this modern-day Deadwood, you can do anything.
All right.
Smithers, I'm missing the fun.
Upsy daisy, sir.
Ah, what glorious goo.
Indeed, what glorious goo.
Have you ever been egged?
One time, it was like 9:30 at night, and I had just gotten out of an improv class, and I was waiting on a bus. At the time, I was a little chubbier than I am now. I was just standing on the road, and all of a sudden, I felt something hit my gut. Somebody had tried to egg me, but it bounced off my tummy onto the ground.
Was it a hard-boiled egg?
No, it was a raw egg, but...
Did you take it home and cook it up?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I don't want to waste it. No. Have you ever been egged?
No.
Okay.
Oh, what a weird thing to happen to you.
I know, it's really weird.
Your setup sounds like an improv setup. So I'm waiting for a bus.
Can I get a suggestion from the audience? Egging? Okay, here we go.
Egging in front of the dildo factory.
Pineapple. I think it's funny how much, and I know this is a cartoon, but it's funny how people care so much about a Little League team.
Yeah, this is a television trope, I feel like, or there's always like I just remember the 80s, there's always like episodes of whatever family sitcom, the kid's on a Little League team, but the town is invested for some reason. Yeah. Like you need like kids sports movies, you know?
Yeah, like it matters to anybody other than those kids, the team.
Right. And then, just Quimby letting the kids go wild because, their town's a Deadwood town. It's lawless.
Yeah, and Bart can show his bare ass to all the people just for fun.
Well, let's go to Cossington's later that day, Steve, okay?
Alrighty.
Marge tells a clerk that she needs a dress to wear to her son's big game. She adds that he's the star player and that she is his mom and he is her son. And the employee politely reminds Marge that she has mentioned Bart's name and batting average several times. So as Marge shares with the woman that Bart is doing pretty well for someone who came out blue and backwards. Jesus. The woman decides to hum while Marge speaks. Marge is fine with that, showing off a picture of Bart while regaling the indifferent department store worker with the mighty tale of the ball Bart caught. When Marge is saying, comes out blue and backwards, having a child, that's the scariest thing ever.
Yeah, I was thinking about how that would affect you because recently having a child. Yeah.
Yeah, and that could have happened because our baby was a breech baby, so she had to have a C-section. So maybe if Marge had a C-section, Bart wouldn't be the way Bart is.
Yeah, he would have been a good little boy. So meanwhile, Homer complains about shopping while holding several bags. And I feel like this is such a late 90s, early 2000s trope of oh, men hate shopping. But he's bored, his feet hurt, and he's too big for the choo-choo train. He looks around for the so-called husband chair and finds that Dr. Hibbert is occupying it, telling Homer that unless he's got a cold beer for him, he can keep on moving. So Homer runs over to another chair, but before he can get to it, Chief Wiggum sits down and cocks his gun at Homer, telling him that his wife Sarah is looking for a bathing suit that doesn't make her look horsey, so he's going to have to sit for a bit.
But you could definitely relate to this, as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you're shopping with your parents or your mom or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
like, I was always like trying to find somewhere to sit while like someone's trying on clothes.
Yeah, or I remember like running to the like coin-operated horse and like sitting on it, even though we didn't have a quarter, but it was like something.
And you still do that to this day if like your wife's out shopping.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Want to ride that horse? Someday I'll get a quarter.
Someday. They're so hard to find now.
I know.
It's all the panhandlers. They get all the change.
Mm-hmm. That's what Obama promised.
Do panhandlers now just like say Venmo me?
They used to be, hey, can I get 25 cents? And then it was like, hey, can I get $1? And now it's like, hey, can I get any part of $5? Or I'm trying to stay in a hotel. Can I get $20? And I'm like, I don't carry that much cash unless I'm buying weed for gardening. And yeah, I mean, like, I guess, you know, with the economy being the way it is, I don't besmirch them for asking for more, but like, hey, you gotta, I don't know, tell a joke or something.
Or magic trick.
Mm-hmm.
Or paint my chicken coop.
Those blintzes were awful.
All right. Well, still diligently looking for a place to rest, Homer heads to Cossington's bedding department, and he decides to sit on a bed. And he finds it to be nice and soft, so he kicks off his shoes and lies down. He then feels, odd laying on top of the covers, so he puts a blanket over himself. And then he feels weird laying in a bed with pants on, so he takes those off. So within moments, he falls into a deep, snoring slumber. And then a crowd begins to notice him, including Mr. Cossington himself. Now, Steve, you go mattress shopping every weekend, right?
Of course, yeah. You gotta.
It is weird testing a bed out. And it's not that, like, it's one that's kind of like embarrassing to do. Like, there's a salesperson right there, and you're just like laying down, like, yep, that sure is a bed.
Mm-hmm.
We as humans sleep awkwardly. Like, I have to sometimes have my legs over my head, like put a pillow between them and try the side, try the back. I don't sleep on the stomach, but awkwardly positioning my body, it is an awkward thing. And yeah, like Homer, like I can't try on out of bed because I'm not going to sleep wearing jeans in a bed. Steve, I have to go. I'm all natural when it comes to bed, Steve.
Oh, do you sleep in the nude?
Of course, it's more relaxed. It's more comfortable.
Hmm.
I mean, that's only when I'm at someone else's house.
Of course, yeah.
Usually when I'm at home, I'm wearing pajamas.
Right, because you don't want to poop up your sheets.
No, Steve, I stopped pooping my bed weeks ago.
Good for you. I'm proud.
Yeah, I don't have to wear big boy pull-ups anymore. I can share with my child.
Aw.
Like, how do you? And that's like our newest mattress we got, through one of those, through the internet, but the shipping to you, and you get to try it out for like 100 nights. So it's a lot easier these days.
Yeah.
I think it would have been funny if Homer also took his underwear off when he went to. But it's funny, he takes his pants off, but not his shirt.
Yeah. He's just Donald ducking it.
Yeah, I mean, at most I can't wear a shirt because I don't like the idea of it bunches up,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I always find that the top of my or the bottom of my shirt in the front always rides up, so I'm like turning it into like a crop top by accident.
All right, Steve, if we ever do a live show, you're gonna wear a crop top.
Alrighty.
What's the pants we have to wear again? Those pirate pants.
Oh yeah, the jodhpurs.
Yeah, jodhpurs and crop tops.
Sexy.
We're getting a whole outfit here for a live show if we ever do it. We're just missing like gloves, hats, shoes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why we have to wear gloves, but we have to.
Of course, and maybe that'll be easier for the action figure designers when we inevitably have annoyed grunt boy action figures.
And the audience must be naked.
Of course.
We can't imagine it.
I've got no imagination. The internet's ruined that for me.
Yeah. All right. Well, Steve, let's go to a clip here where Mr. Cossington is confronting Homer. And also in the clip, we'll go to a Little League Championship. How about that?
Sounds great.
What in the name of... Hey, you!
It's Clue! How many?
Are you sleeping in the middle of my department store?
Well, who wouldn't with an incredible mattress like this? It works with my body's natural curves and supports my back boobs.
That's the best endorsement I've heard since Mickey Mantle for Mapo. I'll take 5 mattresses.
I don't work here.
You do now, son. Woohoo!
All this fuss for a baseball game? Why don't thousands come to watch a teacher inspire a child?
But it did happen just yesterday in Crazy Town.
What do we think of Mr. Cossington here, Steve?
I feel like at this time he was making quite a few appearances, that jowly like thing, but like him saying you're hired rather than you're fired, that's fun.
Yeah, it's like, what's the George Jetson's boss's name?
Mr. Spacely.
Was he Spacely Sprocket?
I do believe, yes.
No, I thought Spacely Sprocket was?
There was another brand,
like the bad guy version of them.
Yeah. So Spacely is the Spacely Sprockets.
Look, Steve, I believe you.
And then Coswell Cogs was the other one.
Okay, there we go. His name was Cosmo Spacely, not Spacely Sprocket. Okay.
Well, there was Spacely Sprockets and then Coswell Cogs. Cogswell Cogs.
I'm looking at the Wikipedia right now, Steve. Someone named Mel Blanc voiced him. I wonder if he had a career.
Probably not. It'd be a blank slate.
Still can't believe they haven't made a live-action Jetsons movie yet.
I know. I mean, Ed Helms would have been perfect.
Now we're going to be stuck with Jason Sudeikis. But now he's probably out of that age range.
Yep, it's going to be Timothy Chalamet.
And Judy will be Zendaya.
Uh-huh.
Oh, wait, no, Jane. Jane will be Zendaya. Judy will be...
Olivia Rodrigo.
I was going to say 11 from Stranger Things.
Oh, yeah.
What's her name? Millie Bobby Brown.
Yes.
And Elroy will be Timothy Chalamet. And Astro would be...
voiced by Chris Pratt.
But at least we can still get Danny DeVito as a Spacely Sprocket.
Just because he looks just like him.
Yes.
In that clip, the rich Texan mentioned that was the best endorsement since Mantle supported Maypo. For those of you who don't know, Maypo is or was a hot cereal that is maple flavored. It's a maple oatmeal. And Mickey Mantle did, in fact, do commercials for them.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Was it just like maple flavored oatmeal?
Pretty much, yeah.
Probably those Quakers saw that and like, we could do that too. And they did.
Yeah, and then it was delicious.
Yeah. I think we should get like sports jerseys. Like I'll make you like a basketball one or a hockey or baseball that says like teachers. And then we'll like get some popcorn and hot dogs and then go to a school and just kick open a door and just like sit like, woo, teaching. just for Lisa's sake.
Yeah, exactly. We can touch the children.
And we'll do it in Crazy Town.
Exactly. Rest in peace, that guy from Crazy Town who died.
That's this world, you know?
Crazy Town?
Change. No, yeah, I mean, we're very pro teachers on this podcast, so it's just...
That's right.
Right. We're with you on this one, Lisa.
Yeah, for once. So as the announcer so beautifully puts it, in the amber gloaming of that September afternoon, Shelbyville has the bases loaded, but Springfield is up 5-2 and only needs one out to win the championship and get that pizza party at Luigi's. They deliver on flavor, but not to your house.
Then we have a Latin announcer for QUEBBL 640 radio. And he pleads with their fans that if Isotots win, to not fire their guns in the air, as the bullets will come down and kill his sister. Why is the Spanish radio speaking in English?
I don't know. In fact, he said, ladies and gentlemen, in Espanol, but then he just, didn't continue to speak in Spanish.
Like, they could have done it in Spanish, but they had subtitles for us idiots who don't speak Spanish.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, well, once again, Nelson fists his ball into a batter, which sends a lazy pop fly to Bart. See, even you could catch this.
Oh, yeah. And I'm bad.
And you're bad, yeah. Much like Michael Jackson. You're bad. He's now the star shortstop of the team, so the announcer is confident that Bart will wrap the game up with this catch.
So, Bart raises his arm and prepares for the defining moment of his life. As the ball flies in slow motion, Homer, Marge, and Lisa sit on the edge of their seats, and Mayor Quimby prepares a celebratory champagne while Lenny prepares to don his Isotots championship cap.
The ball lands gently in Bart's mitt, and then bounces out and onto the ground. Bart looks on, dumbfounded, and as the crowd clamors for him to get it, he dives to get it, but just pushes it further out of reach. whilst chasing the ball, he accidentally kicks it away from himself. And he kicks it again and again. This is just like the Bad News Bears.
Yeah. So as Shelbyville's runners make their way home, Bart continues to fumble, unable to grasp that elusive ball. In the words of the announcer, it's horrible, but you can't take your eyes away, like watching a monkey swallow a hand grenade. The Isotots lose the pennant, and the folks in the stands boo at Bart.
It's true. When something bad happens in like sporting events, it's always rewatching it. Like, I'll watch baseball, and especially if like a batter gets hit and it looks really painful and like they're down, it's just show the replay. Wow, this ball just pretty much breaks his ankle right there.
Yeah. That clip of Randy Johnson pitching the ball and hitting the bird is so horrific, and yet I've seen it so many times just because it's such a weird 1,000,000 to 1 shot.
It doesn't like the bird essentially just like disintegrate.
It blows up, yeah.
It's probably the funniest thing of all time. I know it's really sad.
I think the other great bird death related hilarity is when Fabio was on the roller coaster and he got hit by a bird and his nose got bloodied.
Or the bird flu that killed lots of people.
Oh, yeah, that's funny, too.
Or bird-related when a man ate a bat a couple of years ago.
Speaking of bird-related tragedy, I recently found out, this is unrelated to anything else, but Sesame Street had the idea in the 80s because NASA's popularity was dwindling, and they really wanted kids to be excited about space travel. So they originally had the idea to have Big Bird travel with the astronauts on the Challenger plane. And I just think about how, like, that would have been horrible, as even more horrible than it already was, because you had all these kids in elementary schools, like, watching live footage of the Challenger, and then it just explodes, which is horrible and just, like, traumatic. And I'm glad that I'm just slightly too young to have experienced that. But then also to have beloved character Big Bird blow up, too. Like, man, that would have been sad.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, Steve, probably wouldn't have been Carol Spinney, who was Big Bird.
That's true.
It just would have been like another actual astronaut dying.
No, okay, that's fine then.
So imagine the Challenger. I'm sorry, I'm laughing. The Challenger exploding, but then like you just see one little yellow feather just like floating down.
Yeah.
You know what they say about the Challenger explosion? Like the astronauts survived the explosion. They most likely died on impact with Earth.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Well, he was a bird, so maybe he could just fly and avoid the impact.
There's an alternate universe where that did happen. Do you think they would have actually killed off Big Bird on Sesame Street?
I mean, it would make for a very good special episode because, like, you know, there were all those years when they didn't believe that Snuffleupagus was real, and then they had to be like, okay, he's real. And now he's not only real, but now he's in mourning. He's even a sadder elephant or whatever the hell he was.
Like a mammoth.
Yeah.
But Steve, we don't live in that universe. That's probably the same universe where Nelson Mandela did die in prison, and it's Berenstain Bears.
Yeah, and the Fruit of the Loom does have a cornucopia behind it.
Yeah. And Hillary Clinton was president.
That's right.
We're in the good universe, Steve.
This is the good one? Ooh.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's the best we can do.
Yeah. What can you do?
Well, Milhouse tells Bart that he choked, and Krusty wonders why he put on fresh makeup to watch such a failure. Also, just funny, why is Krusty at the game?
Yeah.
That's like the case of most like Springfield residents. Like, it doesn't matter what their job is, and they have to be there. So on the Jumbotron informs the crowd to throw beer at Bart, and the people are happily to oblige. And so Homer tries to ease the mob off his son, but it's no use.
Knock it off! He's just a kid!
Oh, hey, that's the guy what created him. If Homer had used some protection, we'd all be pooping roses on Easy Street.
Hey, get off my case! He's the choke artist!
Poopin' roses on Easy Street.
If only Homer didn't have Bart.
I know. Speaking of Bart, he runs out of the stadium looking for an escape. Chief Wiggum, in his squad car, tells Bart to come on over. So Bart hops in the back seat and thanks Clancy. And then the car turns into the stadium onto the field, where Wiggum invites the crowd to go nuts. He then lowers the top of the evidently convertible cop car, allowing baseball enthusiasts to hurl beer cans and concessions at the disgraced Bart.
I love that visual gag of the convertible car. Were we taught as like kids and just Bart age that if you feel danger, just to enter a cop car, like a cop is safe to go to?
I think we were, like, most cars not safe to get into if it's a stranger, but if it's a cop car, you're fine. And now I would feel almost exactly the opposite.
Yeah, especially that white van has free candy on it.
I mean, I like candy.
Yeah, I'm afraid of the police. Everyone is.
Yeah, as we should be.
At the breakfast table the following morning, Marge tells the rest of the family that Bart is headed downstairs. And Lisa tells Homer to hide the sports section of the paper, which features a picture of Bart bumbling to grab the ball with the headline, "Shame!" Homer tosses that and then reads the business section instead, which leads with a "Boy's Air Weekends Dollar." And it's Bart's face is shown alongside a bar graph pointing down. So as Bart makes it to the kitchen, Marge tries to keep things pleasant, and later in this clip, Homer gives his new vocation a try.
Good morning, sweetie. There's nothing you can say. After that game, my life is over. Was there even a baseball game yesterday? I don't remember.
Marge, we were just talking about it a few seconds ago.
Don't you have to get to your job as a mattress salesman?
Oh, yeah. Let's see where that goes. Let me tell you about a land where it rains beer and hails pretzels. And you can play swim-up blackjack with Abraham Lincoln. It's the land of sleep. And your passport? A simple mattress.
Yes, I need to be able to sleep through my wife's nagging and my 8 horrible babies and the anguished howls of my ancestors.
A common problem. Try this.
Ooh, I feel like I'm floating on a river of corpses.
Homer, we have a friend, actually a friend of a friend.
Sex problem, eh?
Homer, please, they can hear you in fine China.
Begin the clip with Marge. This is kind of like the Simpsons referencing himself. And like Marge be like, you got to go to your new job of selling mattresses or whatever.
Yeah. And Homer's saying, yeah, let's see where that goes.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
And then we see him selling mattresses, and now we got the Lovejoys.
Yeah, with their sex problem. And I think the joke, they can hear you all the way in fine China, it's a pretty solid joke because, you know, like you can hear them all the way in China, but China is also a section in a department store.
Right.
I feel like we've probably brought this up before, but mattress salespeople are like some of the most shady, pushy people. Like all the stereotypes, the negative stereotypes of like used car salesmen. For a lot of bed mattresses, it's true. My wife used to work for Macy's, and so she knew some salesmen who were, you know, they did sell mattresses. And yeah, they're just like hucksters, and they're like sketchy people, which is weird because you would think that it's not that competitive. But I think that because people only buy a mattress once every 5 or 10 years or whatever, normally, like they are eager for a sale.
Right. Yeah, because it's not, I mean, cars are like obviously more expensive. So
right.
A commission on a car is obviously a lot better. So maybe a sale, again, I'm not a car salesman, so I don't know. You know, I just assume maybe if you sell a car a week, that's probably good. Like if an individual person, maybe, again, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, my dad sold cars for a little bit, and that was, yeah, like if you sold 1 or 2 cars a week, you're probably pretty solid because you got a base salary, but mostly you got your money through commission. So through that, you were fine. But yeah, like a mattress nowadays probably costs at best like, what, $1,200? And so the commission on that is probably like 10 or 15%. So if you're only selling like 2 or 3 mattresses a day, that's not enough to like keep your head above water. So I get it.
You obviously would make better at being a bartender, getting tips.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Homer assures the Lovejoys that he's a licensed mattress professional, if that were such a thing, and he has just the thing for their marital woes, the Snuglux by Matrimonium. And Timothy is sold. Homer assures the Reverend that his most intimate secrets are safe, before shouting, "Who else is dead in bed?"
So over at the KBBL radio station, Sid and Marty declare themselves to be the official Bart Simpson Sucks station, offering yet another Bash Bart block, starting with a parody cover of Love Stinks from Jimbo, Dolph, and Curdy. I like how they could just call in a radio station like, hey, play our song parody.
Yeah.
So in his bedroom, Bart hears this and turns off the radio, saying that his favorite song is now ruined. And then we see him take down all of his posters of the J. Giles Band. Great visual joke here.
Yeah, really funny.
Bart really into J. Giles Band, yeah.
And not for Angel is a centerfold, but for Love Stinks. So Lisa walks in and tells her brother that she can take him to someone who will make him feel better. And so Bart thinks that it's his rabbit, Cottontail, the one that lives upstate, which I feel like we just talked about, animals living upstate.
Yeah.
And Lisa tells Bart that the rabbit died, and Homer buried him in the backyard, but not in that order.
Really funny to me.
Yeah, it's really dark.
Imagine like, a live rabbit Homer just buries. The fuck, Homer?
Yeah.
Like, did he think it was dead, or it was like it just hopping around and Homer buries it?
Yeah, he got tired of like him taking all the carrots, so he's like, I'm gonna bury this thing.
Or maybe Homer saw it and was just sleeping and maybe thought it was dead.
Yeah, or maybe he was watching like a Bugs Bunny cartoon and he saw that like Bugs Bunny always like dug through the ground to get to like from Albuquerque to Saskatchewan or whatever. And so he's like, oh, rabbits dig through holes. And so maybe he like buried a hole for him and then covered it up.
Actually, that makes sense. Maybe he is trying to get the bunny to go do something for him. I like that. I want to see that episode, Steve.
Yeah.
Call up Mr. Price and say, hey, write this episode now.
I don't know why Vincent Price would write an episode of The Simpsons. Like, he was on an episode, but still.
Oh, I meant the writer of this, Michael Price.
Oh, that makes more sense. Yeah.
His son. We forgot to mention that. Vincent Price was his dad.
That's right.
Don't look it up, Steve. I'm sure it's true.
Absolutely.
So over at the Shelbyville Grand Wailea Hotel, there is a baseball card show where you can see how your childhood heroes have aged. And inside, you can meet your favorite greedy agent, play a game of Whack-A-Mascot, or in Bart's case, meet a former player who's faced his own adversity.
Bart, meet Joe LaBoot. LaBoot. Sounds familiar.
Well, you probably remember me from the 1943 World Series. With the score tied in Game 7, Tommy Heinrich of the Yankees hit a ball in my direction. Juggling Joe LaBoot, they called me. When I finally picked up the ball, I threw it into the stands, hitting Eleanor Roosevelt, who up till then had been a great beauty. We lost the game and the series, but I bounced back. Got my own car dealership. I have 17 grandchildren and a big home in Idaho. It's a great life.
Yeah, in Idaho.
And at these card shows, the fans let me know that I've put my gaff behind me.
You stink, LaBoot!
No, I don't. Google my stats. Take it from me, kid. You'll be just fine.
Feel better now, Bart?
Bart? Are you Bart Simpson? The kid who dropped that easy fly ball? Oh, you stink like a Dutchman's throw-up. Talking to you was the biggest error of my life.
All right. Joe LaBoot, Steve. Now, that's just a fictional character made up for The Simpsons. I'm sorry.
I know. And I knew that, and I didn't need to look it up.
But in the 1943 World Series was between the Yankees and the St. Louis Cardinals. The Yankees did win that one. But looking up on the Simpsons wiki, I have to bring this comments up because it makes me chuckle. And maybe these are two of our listeners. I don't know. Then I apologize by laughing at your comments.
Okay.
There's two comments under the Joe LaBoot character page on simpsonsfandom.wiki. And Plot123 said, and this was from recent, from the 31st of 2024, January 31st. They say, because of what he did and said to my favorite character, Bart Simpson, he is now my most hated and least liked Simpsons character of all time. And then McCrae, 1999, from May 16th, 2023, said, this guy is a real hypocritical jerk. He really made fun of Bart for not catching the ball at a baseball upon knowing he was him all along and laughed at him, along with everyone, making him cry, given that he did the same thing as a kid in the past, which is just so hypocritical and unfair. I definitely agree with Grandpa Abe Simpson here. You stink, LaBoot.
I'm really glad that people's media literacy is so acute that people know that this fictional character did not actually make the fictional character Bart Simpson cry.
Steve, you think it's cute? I think it's adorable.
It is pretty adorable.
Adorable. Okay.
That's really funny.
I don't find LaBoot to be my most hated character.
He's supposed to be a kind of disliked because he is a hypocrite, but like, yeah. there are worse characters, like, I don't know, Lisa,
Marge,
Maggie,
Homer,
Bart. Actually, you know who the worst character is? Graggle Simpson.
Who?
Do you know the history of Graggle or Gumbly Simpson?
No.
Okay. This was an internet thing from a few years ago. Basically, I think it was on the subreddits. They invented a character named Graggle, who is like kind of an alien-looking thing. And he's yellow, unclothed, and alien-like humanoid. There's this joke about how he's always been on The Simpsons and everybody hates him. He never actually existed, but the internet pushed it so long that it became a joke, and then the joke kind of lost its thread, so people thought it was real, to the point where they're putting mods into Simpsons Hit and Run with Graggle Simpson.
You know, he probably does exist in that universe where Big Bird was on the Challenger.
I think so, yeah. They're kind of, maybe he was inspired by the former Sesame Street resident, Big Bird, because he's also yellow.
That's true.
Kind of looks like him. I mean, if he was a little shorter and not a bird.
That's what I say about everybody.
That's right. So once again, a crowd forms around Bart and jeers at him, and Joe LaBoot adds, "Boo, boo indeed," making Bart cry.
Well, over at 742 Evergreen Terrace, the Lovejoys stop by to visit Homer, who plays defense, saying that if they are there because he drank the holy water, he had a million Doritos. You know, the ones with the flame on the bag? Steve, personally, I think it's weird for adults to eat Doritos. Could you imagine someone running for president eating Doritos?
That would be weird and silly. Just weird.
Yeah. Those people are weird.
It's one thing to, go to an event and carry fake cups of jizz. Completely normal. But eating the snack food Doritos? That's peculiar.
And weird.
Not
a political podcast. So, that bag ain't lying, Steve. Helen tells Homer that they are actually there because of the mattress that Homer sold them. So, Steve, you ever, buy something from a salesman and you want to return it, so you go to their house to return it?
Of course, yeah, all the time.
Makes sense.
So, as Timothy so gently puts it, they tried raising Cain, that means fuck, but they were not able. And Homer thinks he knows the problem, so he whispers into the Reverend's ear, telling him the basics of intercourse. And, they want a refund, so as you always do, after somebody says that they want a refund from the thing that you sold them, Homer goes up to his bedroom to write a check. And so the Lovejoys follow them. As Homer writes, "bite my ass" on the memo portion of the check, he turns his head to see that the Lovejoys are making out in his own bed.
So Reverend Lovejoy tells Homer that he isn't a man who believes in miracles, very funny line, but he thinks that Homer's bed could resurrect their sex life. They offer to swap beds with Homer, and he agrees, on one condition. They do the schlepping, and Timothy wants to check with his wife first, but soon he sees that she's been pushing the mattress down the stairs, replacing the old one on the hood of their station wagon, and driving off, then returns to grab Lovejoy, throws him on top of the mattress, and they drive home where they can go to Bone Town, the way God intended. And that whole time, the music from the Green Hornet is being played. And then, of course, it's the Flight of the Bumblebee, Steve. And it was performed by good old jazz trumpeter Al Hirt.
I love Al Hirt. So many music cues from The Simpsons are by Al Hirt. And I think we've talked about him before, but he's great. I love Al Hirt.
Mrs. Lovejoy grabbing Timothy, and sideways, he's just a cardboard cutout in a way.
Yeah, exactly. And I just appreciate how horny she is.
She's always been kind of alluded to be kind of a horny character, hasn't she?
Yeah, I just like people with sexual agency. It makes me happy.
I mean, a lot of religious people are very sexually repressed.
Like you say, they have alluded to them having kind of a kinky sub-dom situation, which, not for me, but good for thee, I say.
You sound like a preacher yourself.
God, the rest. Later that evening, Marge and Homer try some boning of their own.
Move over just
well, maybe if you go...
No, wrong!
I'm sorry, homie. I want to snuggle, but I'm just not feeling it.
Yeah, something has changed, but I can't figure out what. Our mattress! I traded it to the Lovejoys.
You traded our mattress? I had my secret cash in it.
Oh, that's long gone, baby. Long gone. It was made for Elvis, but he found it tacky. But I can't believe a mattress could make that much difference.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, glory, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Every day, every day, every day, yay.
Lousy Reverend, he's having my sex while I'm at home with Marge, not doing anything sensual or erotic.
That thing that Homer bought with the mattress money was a bling necklace that says mattress with gold encrusted dollar signs. That was too tacky for Elvis.
It is pretty tacky.
It is, and it's funny that it says mattress. Yeah, I feel bad for Marge and Homer not being able to go down to Bonetown, but like also it's just really weird to like lie down in your own bed to find out that it's not your own bed that you sold to somebody. That would be really weird to me.
It's kind of gross. Like the Lovejoys,
Yeah.
like Homer's not the most hygienic person. I just imagine all the, I don't know, unless like Marge is really good at cleaning mattresses. Like how many, you're supposed to like clean your mattress every 2 months or something weird like that by putting like baking soda and vinegar and water or whatever.
Yeah.
How many times have you done that, Steve, in your life?
Oh my gosh, none.
Exactly. Who's got time?
Like we're good about changing the sheets. We do that weekly. But yeah, I don't wash the bed proper. Like every now and then we'll flip the mattress.
Yeah.
That's more of a comfort thing, not a cleanliness thing.
Yeah. Well, the following morning, Lisa arises to the gentle sound of birds chirping. She walks downstairs, opens the front door, and reaches for the morning paper when a glob of paint drips on her nose. As she turns her head to discover that someone has painted the words, "I hate Bart Simpson," on the front of their house. Lisa gasps as she turns around, seeing that every house on Evergreen Terrace has been vandalized with the phrase, "I hate Bart Simpson."
So Ned tries to scrub the graffito tag off of his fence, self-assured that a damp sponge will make quick work of the weak water-based paint, only to learn that it is, in fact, oil-based. So Rod steps out, looking for his daddy, who Ned tells him to fetch Daddy's thinner boy. And, you know, when Maude was still alive, you'd say, fetch Daddy's thicker boy. But despite the fact that the paint is actually, or the thinner is actually in the stay-away closet.
Were you making a Ned Huge Hog reference?
Yes. Yeah.
Why would he tell the son to grab his dick?
I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
You know, they're Christians. Christians are confused.
All right. Well, the Springfield Retirement Castle, the Androids, Dungeon and Baseball Card Shop, the Quickie Bart, Moe's, and even a passed-out shirtless Barney all sport the phrase, "I hate Bart Simpson," hastily written in black paint. Marge and Lisa watch this on the news, and Marge is left wondering who would do such a thing to their special little guy. Lisa has an answer. It's the person who hates Bart more than anyone else. No, Steve, not Sideshow Bob.
Oh.
So she points out the window to a distant water tower where Bart repels himself down a rope to spray paint, "I hate Bart."
So Marge squints, saying that that's really something. And Lisa compels her to put on her glasses, and she does, despite the fact that she feels that those glasses make her look dowdy. She's kind of got like Waldo, like round eye glasses. She then sees her own bespectacled eyes that Bart is the culprit of all the defamation of Bart. So a mob stands and watches below the water tower, and Bart, with his eyes twitching, tells the people that he hates himself too, so that they all can be friends again, and then lets out a crazed laugh.
And Homer, Marge, and Lisa rush to the water tower where Lisa assures her brother that no one is mad at him anymore. And a crowd of people murmur with a meager enthusiasm. And Wiggum then shouts, "Jump!" and then lowers his bullhorn and asks people, "And who said that?" And Bart shouts, "I hate Bart Simpson." And then he lets go of the rope, falling to the ground. Joe LaBute is there, and he runs to catch the boy, but misses, causing Bart to land in some bushes. And then Abe rides by on a scooter shouting, "You stink, LaBute."
So at this point, I just want to say that if you're having any self-harm thoughts, to dial 988 in America or 1-800-273-8255, because this reminded me that the episode on the Simpsons fandom wiki has a lot of warnings about the controversy and the trigger warnings of this episode because of this scene, because it is so traumatic. So I just wanted to bring that out there. I don't want to bring anything down, but just if you need help, please reach out. People are there for you.
I mean, it is a traumatizing scene because, you know, seeing Bart jump off of letting go of the water tower, like any person would probably most likely die from that.
Yeah, and it is really tragic to feel that he screwed up so badly that he has to tell other people that he hates himself too, so that if I hate myself, then other people will like me, which is a really negative way to look at the world and not a good way. But luckily, at Springfield General Hospital, Dr. Hibbert assures the Simpsons that Bart will be fine. He just needs some peace and quiet. Unfortunately, the mob outside the medical center feels the need to share their opinion of Bart.
Bart sucks! Bart sucks! Bart sucks! Bart sucks! You should all be
ashamed! Passing judgment on a child for a sports boo-boo. What have you people ever done?
Well, I wrote a best-selling series of mystery novels. Stephen King called it scary good fun.
Besides that, now, thanks to you, my special little guy will be haunted by this for the rest of his life. I always thought that was just a slogan to attract small businesses. But now I know it's the truth.
Not that good, I know.
Okay, Midge, you made us feel bad about what we done to your boy. But what can we do about it now? It's not like we can play the game over again.
Can't we?
Like I just said, we can't.
Are you sure?
Open your freaking ears. No.
I think maybe we could.
And I say I have difficulty envisioning it.
All right, Steve, there's some visual jokes in there, especially with Lenny's book. Let the listeners know what it was all about.
Why, it was entitled The Murderer Did It, which is a great title that would be worthy of John Swartzwelder.
Yeah, I feel like Swartzwelder should write a book called The Murderer Did It.
Yes.
But then when you read the book, Steve, it turns out the murderer did actually do it, right?
Yeah, it was the time machine all along. The slogan that Marge was referencing was the Springfield, the meanest city in America, which is funny to put on a billboard. And probably my favorite joke from that clip, there's a sign that says Bart sucks, and after Marge yells at the people and makes her speech, that sign slowly lowers and then pops back up again to say, we're sorry.
Simpsons always great with the signage jokes.
Oh, yeah. Plus, I love the banter between Moe and Lisa at the end there.
Yeah. They're a great team sometimes, you know?
I like them, yeah.
Well, Marge meets with Bart's former opponents, pleading for their help. As the coach tries to understand it, she wants him to play a fake rematch so Bart can make the catch he missed and feel better about himself. And the coach agrees, provided that Marge pretends to be his fiancée when his mother pays him a visit, much like how Marge pretended to be Apu's fiancée. Marge is fine with that as long as he pretends to be their chauffeur at her high school reunion, and he agrees to that if she pretends to be a ghost at an old amusement park he's trying to buy.
Which is, the plot of most Scooby-Doo episodes.
I love this sitcom, cartoon trope, cliches.
Mm-hmm.
But I also want to watch those episodes.
Oh, yeah, that'd be a lot of fun.
Great.
So Marge suggests that they stop at that point, and meanwhile, Lisa tries to convince the baseball announcer to join their clever ruse.
You want me to re-announce a game I've already called? Oh, sister, I got too much integrity. The same integrity Farmer Dan puts into every link sausage.
Then I guess you wouldn't mind eating one.
Of course I wouldn't. It's not like they're made of skunk tails and horse nipples. I'll do whatever you say. Just get that death wiener away from me.
Hey, Craig, get that death wiener away from me.
All right.
I really like how Hank's baseball announcer voice is just basically Vin Scully, and it's so good of Vin Scully, and he even looks like him. So, really good.
Does the announcer live at the stadium?
I think he could. Yeah, I think that'd be pretty neat.
I think it would be pretty neat to live in a baseball stadium.
Think
about it.
Yeah.
You got the locker room, so you got your showers. There's like a weight room, so you can work out if that's your thing. All the concessions of different types of foods. All the beer.
Oh, yeah. You can put on the mascot uniform and run around the bases all alone. It's a good time.
Yeah. Steve, I think we should put our money together and buy a stadium. Well, I'll buy my own. You can buy your own, too.
Okay, yeah. Then we can, have competitions.
I mean, I could buy a baseball stadium, and if you wanted to buy, an arena with, ice hockey.
Oh, yeah.
We could Airbnb it.
Ah, yes. It's a good idea.
I'm assuming, stadiums cost a couple billion. So, one night at our stadium would probably be, I'll be generous, $69 a night.
I like it. That's more than fair.
But since it is Airbnb and it's a hockey arena, you guys have to Zamboni the ice.
Mm-hmm.
You got to do your own laundry. Take out the trash. Replace the trash bags, too.
And somebody's got to feed Gritty.
And no loud music after 10 p.m.
No. Gritty's trying to sleep.
And checkout time will be, let's say 7 a.m., but check-in time is 9:30 p.m.
That seems more than fair. You've got 7 to 8 hours of sleep, and then you got to get out of there.
Also, it's a shared space, too, so you might have to deal with my children. Have you ever stayed in an Airbnb that was the owners were still there?
I think one time we stayed in the middle of Oregon where we were in a separate house, but the owners of the place were at their own house, and they came in the morning, which is kind of weird. They're nice enough people, though, and they had a farm, and they introduced us to the horse. So it wasn't horrible, but we try, when we do get Airbnbs, and we've kind of not done them as often lately, we try to avoid anything that will involve interacting with any person ever, because I don't like to do that.
Yeah, I don't want to do that either. Like, you'll see Airbnbs too, where it's like, oh, there's a room in the house that we occupy. So then, like, it's almost like a bed and breakfast in a way, right?
Right.
But it's still kind of weird. Like, yeah, we have a room. You have to share the bathroom and kitchen with us.
Ugh. Yeah. I hate that idea of, like, you know, you wake up the next morning and, like, they're just down there making coffee or something. Just like, ugh.
And it's
no,
still like
thank you.
$300 a night.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, in the darkness of night, Marge and Homer, in their blackest, sneakiest clothes, tiptoe into the household of Timothy and Helen Lovejoy. Marge whispers that she feels funny about what they're about to do, but Homer assures her that they are just going to take their mattress and do a quick sweep of the medicine chest. And then they are out of there. To set a mood, Homer emulates a hi-hat until Marge yells at him to stop.
It's funny because, you know, you need some sneaking music.
Yeah.
So they reach the Lovejoys' bedroom where they find their familiar mattress, which Marge refers to as the old bouncing giggle. And they both reach to pick it up, and their hands meet. And they look deep into each other's eyes, and they feel lustful. And just then, the Lovejoys arrive home, also feeling lustful. Timothy tells Helen to put on the Michael Bolton CD while he dons his edible vestments. They walk into their own bedroom to find Homer and Marge mid-coitus. Homer still wearing that sneaking beanie.
Helen is shocked. Shocked, I tell you. How could Homer and Marge have the nerve to break into their house to file their bed and smash their family photos with Homer's foot? Homer declares himself to be powerful yet careless lover, and Marge tells him that they need the bed for forgiveness of their marriage. My punch-up joke is, like, Homer should have said, like, he smashed the photos before even the coitus began.
Yeah, I like that.
Helen then says that they need it more, and Timothy is then reminded of the story of wise King Solomon.
So Reverend Lovejoy, he reaches into his closet and grabs a saw, because, you know, you always keep a saw in your closet.
Right.
And offers a fair, if not ideal, solution. So Homer and Marge drive home with their mattress cut in half diagonally, strapped to the hood of their car. And Marge complains about the manner in which the Lovejoys cut the mattress, saying that it looks like a grilled cheese sandwich. Or, as Homer adds, a chicken club, or a Reuben, or a Monte Cristo.
Well, all that talk of sandwiches, Steve, excites Homer and me. I want a sandwich.
Oh, yeah.
Who tells Marge to pull over behind a large Duff beer billboard. And when Marge asks if Homer really wants to make love on half a mattress behind a billboard, Homer tells her it's like their honeymoon all over again. So they look over to find a man in a cardboard box using newspaper as bedding. It's the same bum looking at them from their honeymoon. And so the vagabond tells Homer, Marge, I knew you kids would make it. And then the hobo then squeezes Homer's tummy, telling him how fat he got.
So the next day at Isotope Stadium, it's time for the championship do-over game, where everyone has gathered to restore Bart's broken ego.
So it's deja vu all over again, as Springfield needs just one out to win the game and the championship. Who'd have thunk it? Probably everyone who was here the last time.
I still can't believe it. They dusted the plate with a non-regulation brush, so we have to play the last inning over again.
I think this time it'll have a happier ending.
Why do you think that?
No! They warned me not to talk to you!
Who warned you?
Nobody!
And that sound you hear is Millhouse running to the foul pole.
So Nelson throws the pitch, and the opposing batter pops it into the air, and it arcs towards Bart, who welcomes his forthcoming redemption. He reaches out his glove to catch, and the ball falls a few feet away from him. The people on the stands all look at each other nervously, and then Marge shouts out, Bart gets another try, stating that the batter hit the ball by accident rather than design.
So the ump calls to resume the game, so it's another pitch and another hit, and this time Bart is beamed in the head. And Quimby tries to think of a reason for a do-over, when Moe interrupts him, saying that there's a naked idiot on the field. He then strips naked and runs onto the field. So they try again, and the ball hits a bird. which coincidentally Bart catches. I feel like Bart would feel sad and want to take care of that bird. Another attempt, and Bart is hit and sent flying with his clothes off in the style of Charlie Brown. And the next hit, he's struck by lightning, and they make another go for it. And then Homer reaches out and catches the ball from the stands. And they keep on trying as day turns to night. The crowd begins to thin, but after several attempts, Bart finally catches the ball. So the few people in the crowd respond with a weak applause. So the 78th time really was a charm. As the announcer states, the real show is about to begin. The glorious sunrise brought to you by God, the invisible giant you turn to when you're about to die. And then we go 60 years into the future, where Bart and Milhouse sit outside of their Springfield retirement castle and reminisce about the good old days.
Hey, Milhouse, did I ever tell you about the catch I made when I was 10? Greatest moment of my life.
It was a fake, you idiot! We did it to make you feel better!
A fake? Then I did suck. I do suck.
No, that was a fake just now. You did make the catch.
I knew it! I rule! And you drool! Ha 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 ha!
Boy, our son can be a real jerk. Hey, you want to have ghost sex?
I keep telling you, ghost sex is nothing. It's worse than nothing.
Then why were you moaning last time?
Because I'm a ghost. Oh.
Ah, a ghost!
I got a question real quick.
Sure.
Again, cartoon and ghosts, both things not real, right?
Right. Presumably.
Now, like, a lot of times you see, like, when, like, on The Simpsons, I'm sure I can pinpoint an episode, but I don't have it off the top of my head. But, when you see, like, in cartoons, like, the ghost, the person dies, they're, like, in their old person state, or at the way they were when they died.
Mm-hmm.
This is Homer and Marge, like, in their prime. So did Homer and Marge, like, die young?
Yeah, I mean, I think that any episode now, we're going to see them die.
Okay. Any minute now. Any minute. How's it going to happen?
They're going to get invited to go on the Challenger.
Oh, Jesus. So in the alternate universe where Big Bird's on the Challenger, Homer and Marge also die too, and Hillary Clinton is president.
That's right. Everything's a little bit different, but maybe a little bit better. Well, Craig, that's the end of our episode. Let's take a break, think about what we just saw, and we'll be right back. Alrighty, Craig, we're back. Let's finish up our discussion on the Boys of Bummer. We'll talk about the things that we liked, the things that made us laugh, and what we thought about the episode. Maybe even find a most valuable jokester. And we'll find out what we're watching next week. But before we do that, as always, we like to, give some gifts from this episode to share the kindness of kindness. You're probably a busy guy and you don't have a lot of time to read, but if you do, I got you the latest of the Lenny Leonard mysteries. The Murderer Did It. And also, because I want you to look good, I got you some bling that says mattress. It may be too tacky for Elvis, but it's not too tacky for you.
I will wear that with pride.
Good.
And I will read that book with pride.
Yes, you should.
I got you a authentic Joe LaBoot rookie card.
Joe LaBoot, he stinks.
Well, it was signed by Joe LaBoot too, all right?
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay. And, you told us a sad story about being egged, but not really being egged. So, Steve, I got a dozen eggs here. I'm going to throw it at you until they break open.
Oh, that glorious goof.
And throw one. Psh. Ah. And throw two. Psh.
Ah.
And throw three. Psh. And the rest. Psh. Psh. How'd that feel, Steve?
I'm all covered in goo and sticky and shelly and gross. I love it.
Is just go outside in the heat and then just roll around on the asphalt and see if you could make asphalt scrambled eggs with your body.
Ooh, yeah. That sounds good.
Ass eggs, as I would like to call them.
Alrighty, Craig. What made you laugh in this episode?
Oh, boy. Where to begin? Let's start at the beginning, Steve.
Good place.
Okay. Do I start with my MVJ? Is that weird?
No, I mean, I say go for it.
I think I'm getting my MVJ to Reverend Lovejoy.
Yes.
Just for the fact of, there's a couple, just really fun, lines, when he's, trying to raise Cain and he's not able to, just a punny joke there. And he also tells Homer that he doesn't believe in miracles. Another, funny thing.
Yeah.
The man of religion. And he's got the saw, and he saws it in the King Solomon, but not in half, which makes more sense for two people at least, to turn it into like a twin-sized bed. No. So I thought the Lovejoys, or Reverend Lovejoy himself, his scenes were pretty funny. So I'd go with that. And then the visual gags with Wiggum at the beginning of the episode, driving the police car around. That's convertible. The newspaper gag at the breakfast table. Oh, and Bart pulling down his Jay Giles posters. A lot of fun stuff. And I'd say, I know LeBoot stinks, but I think LeBoot's a fun jerk of a character.
Nice.
Oh, going back to the Lovejoys part, why they're MVJs is also when Helen is taking the mattress out of the Simpsons house.
Yes, that's a lot of fun.
How about you?
The baseball announcer is probably going to be my MPJ for the episode. I like his quote about God being that thing in the sky that you pray to when you're about to die. The Latin one for KBBL, warning people not to shoot their guns in the air because it'll kill his sister. I like that fun. I really liked Lisa and Mo arguing back and forth about imagining redoing the game. And yeah, I think the Lovejoys were also very funny, especially Timothy. And I just really like the interactions between Homer and Timothy and them wanting to get it on but being too distracted. I think that the visual of Marge's glasses, which we never see, it doesn't go anywhere, and it's just for the sake of humor. I really like Marge's glasses. So yeah, but I think the baseball announcer will be my MVJ. But Craig, what did you think of this episode all in all?
This episode is your childhood fever dream. As kids, as adults, we make mistakes too. But as kids, I think making the mistake is a lot more detrimental in our minds than it really needs to be. And I think that's what this episode is kind of making fun of, that as a child, you're expected to do certain things and be a certain person. So you don't want to let down your friends and family. And in this case, Bart's the entire town.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do make the mistake and you don't succeed in that way, you feel like, the whole world is against you, much like Bart does in this episode. I think that's just going to the extremes that this episode does. And that cliche moment of Bart, realizing that he's just because he hears all this negative things said about him, which also comes down to reality too, when, adults start acting up at children's sporting events, which is a thing that sadly happens all the time.
Mm-hmm.
There's signs in Little League parks that say, hey, these are children playing. The umpires are volunteers. Just let the kids have fun. I recently just saw a video that someone posted about kids that were wrestling, and one of the kids made an illegal move, and the parents got mad that he lost a point or whatever, to the point that he was physical with the referee of this children's wrestling match. And the fact that someone taped it, put it on the internet, now that guy, had to go to jail because he, physically assaulted someone. So this also shows that adults are stupid when it comes to kids playing sports or anything like that. So I really like that kind of story. And then as a kid, you wish you could just do over something, right? And then Bart gets his wish. Well, he doesn't wish for this, but this is a weird way of let's make Bart feel better. And I kind of wish that we had more of a tag of, I know this is more like a Full House moment that would have happened where it's okay to lose and it's okay to make mistakes. And this one, they're just trying to save Bart's ego, which I think is the wrong message to have.
Mm-hmm.
There could, if this was a season 1 through 5 episode, or 1 through 4 really, this would have had that moment of hey, you win some, you lose some type of message. I think the best kids sports movie of all time, yes, there is some dated racial humor in it, but is the Bad News Bears, because that movie teaches kids to lose.
Mm-hmm.
You can't always win them. Spoilers who haven't seen the Bad News Bears, the Bears lose at the end. So I kind of wish there was a little bit more of that aspect into the story. I know I'm thinking maybe too much of it. I'm asking too much of it. And then the B story, which is really funny because it's a stupid Simpsons plot, and even Marge makes the point of oh, this is your job. Let's see what comes of this. Even though I gave my MVJ to Helen and Timothy, it's still kind of a stupid, silly, dumb B plot, but for some reason it works.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have liked more of a sincere A story and the B story isn't necessary. But that being said, I don't hate this episode. I know there's some things that I disagree with it, but there is some fun to it and some chuckles. So I say it's in the middle there. I enjoyed it for what it was, but I still kind of wish there was a little bit more with Bart, and there could have been like maybe they would have had like a psychiatrist type character that Bart was seeing. I think the solution that Lisa has is kind of a silly one, and so I kind of wish there was a little bit more with that story. But that being said, I still enjoyed it. So Steve, they mentioned the 1943 World Series, which of course the Yankees won against the St. Louis Cardinals 4-1. And if I had to give this a ranking out of that series, let's go to Game 5, Steve, of the World Series. New York Yankees win 2-0 against the Cardinals. And the attendance of that game, which was really funny, was 33,872 people. But the first game of the series was 68,676. So almost nearly half of the amount of people were at Game 5. Most likely because they knew the Yankees were going to win, right?
Right.
And it was in Sportsman's Park in St. Louis. So, not a lot of Yankees fans flew down there for that game. Out of 33,872, I'll give this episode a 23,337.
That's fair.
How about you?
I think you make a really good point about the fact that the message may have been better is you win some, you lose some. Because I think if you had a more heartfelt story I think the absurdity of the mattress B plot would be even more fun. The tone at the end is a little dark and a little weird for Bart to just kind of go crazy. And they don't really explore it enough to like you say, have a psychologist or have him get therapy about it. He just almost dies and then is in the hospital and he's fine. But I do think that this is kind of a fun episode and I don't hate it. The B plot is just so silly and I like, this is the kind of thing that we probably complained about at the time about, oh, Homer's just got another wacky job. But I think the silliness of the Lovejoys coming to his house to get a refund and then them swapping beds is such a weird sitcom plot that I really enjoy. And I love the interaction between Marge and the other coach and them agreeing to do all these things, to all these ruses to like trick people. I think that's a lot of fun. The cockiness of Bart and the other team just egging people of the city. So all in all, I'm going to say this is a watch, but it is kind of a middling episode. So if I had to give it a numerical score, the average mattress salesperson in America makes about $41,000 a year, which works out to be about $20 an hour. So out of $41,000, I'm going to give this, we'll say a $28,000.
So we're on the same page.
Yeah, I think it's an okay episode. Maybe not the best, but it's okay. Well, that was our thoughts on the Boys of Bummer. But what are we going to do next week? Well, there's still no new episode. We're still waiting for the season 36 premiere. So we're going to need our good friend, that Wheel of Random. So let's give it a spin to see which season we're in. Boo-doop. Season 20.
Ooh, season 20. Exciting.
Yes, just 2 more from this episode.
Okay.
All right, let's give it another spin to see which episode we're watching. Episode 6. All right, Craig, what do you think the title of this episode is?
Well, of course, like all the time, we always try to relate this episode to the new one we're going to watch. The Boys of Bummer is probably a take on the Don Henley song, The Boys of Summer. And in that matter of Don Henley songs, I'll do one of the classic Henley songs, Eagles, of course. Desperapudo.
Ooh. That does sound like a great episode. Unfortunately, that is not the title because it is Homer and Lisa Exchange Crosswords.
Ooh, crossword.
What do you think that episode's all about?
Well, crosswords. You think of like crossword puzzles, but I think it's actually crosswords. I think of the cross, and I think Lisa becomes born again. The whole time she became a Buddhist, but I think she finds like another sect of Christianity that works with her ideals. So she becomes like a kid preacher, and Homer is mad because he has to go to 2 churches because he can't just let her go on every Sunday. So he's got to drive her to the church after church, and he's not happy about it. So he tries to get her into Satanism.
Ooh.
Meanwhile, Marge and Bart and Maggie take a trip to see Marge's great uncle in Ogdenville.
Mm-hmm.
And Bart falls in love with his cousin.
Interesting.
And in the C story, Moe squats at the Simpsons house and claims squatters' rights.
Ooh, that's a complex story that I really like. But unfortunately, that's not the case because Homer and Lisa exchange crosswords. Lisa discovers she has an impressive knack for solving crossword puzzles, like you mentioned, and she enters in a citywide crossword tournament. Feelings are hurt, though, when Homer bets against Lisa in the championship match.
Well, this episode seems right up your sleeve, Steve. You love a crossword.
I love a crossword. I remember this episode vaguely. Mostly I watched it because of my fan of crosswords, but I'm excited to rewatch it and find out all about it. So do you have memories of this one?
I honestly don't know this episode at all. I'm sure I watched it because it's season 20, but yeah, I just don't really remember.
Well, this will be a lot of fun because I do believe that the crossword man himself, Will Shortz, makes a cameo. And so this should be a lot of fun. So I look forward to watching it. And we look forward to you hearing it, listeners. Thank you so much for listening, as always. And if you ever want to reach out to us, you can. You can email us at 138simpsons@gmail.com. Or check us out on the socials like your Instagram, your Threads, or your YouTube at 138simpsons.
And hey, leave us a voicemail. Go through the show's notes, and there'll be a little button that says leave a voicemail. And you click on it, and it's there. And then you just tell us whatever you want to tell us. You know, tell us a time when you were a child and you made a mistake. That's sad. Or tell us anything you want. You could fart and burp. Don't do that. Just tell us how much you love us. And if you want some merch, go to tpublic.com/user/annoyedgruntboys and leave us a review. 5 stars are the best on Apple Podcasts or whatever podcast. And again, you don't have to leave an actual review. You can just tell us why your town hates you.
That's right. Thank you again so much for listening. For this week, I've been Annoyed Grunt Boy Steve.
I've been Annoyed Grunt Boy Craig.
And remember, I'll do whatever you say. Just get that death wiener away from me.
Behold my naked butt.
You stink like a Dutchman's throw-up.